tonight on Elon Local News.
Spring is here. How allergy season in North Carolina is affecting Elon students differently.
One Elon athlete throwing for a title. How track and field star Brianna Hames trains for the NCAA Track and Field Championship.
The Elon Board of Aldermen's only woman. We look into what inspires her as a politician.
All that and more.
Elon Local News starts right now.
Live from the Jane and Brian Williams studio at Elon University School of Communications, you're watching Elon Local News.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Perry Eliadorani.
And I'm Jackie Pascal. This afternoon, Rabbi Meir Goldstein announced he would be stepping down as Elon's Associate Chaplain of Jewish Life. Goldstein will be starting a new position as Executive Director at the Dartmouth College Hillel in New Hampshire. In a statement sent out via email, Goldstein said, "I have been blessed to work with some very incredible partners. It warms my heart to know that there are so many bright, kind, and loving professionals who care so much for your success." Goldstein's last day is May 31st.
Spring is hopefully the season of sunshine and flowers, but it's also the season of coughing, sneezing, and sniffling from allergies. Our Christian Galvano looked into what it means to have seasonal allergies here at Elon.
Basically feels like a cold, but it just never ends.
We all get thrilled for the arrival of spring, but with spring comes seasonal allergies. Many students at this time of year feel the effects of North Carolina's pollen count. In spring 2016, Greensboro was ranked 42nd in the most challenging places to live list from the Asthma and Allergies Foundation of America. Sophomore Maria Benton from New Jersey says it's extremely tough dealing with allergies.
Coming from New Jersey, I never experienced any allergies. It mostly was when I came down here for school. It usually hits about now when it gets to April and all the pollen's coming down from the trees when everything's blooming.
In the list, which consisted of 100 cities across America, there was not one New Jersey city. According to pollen.com, pollen count at Elon is expected to be moderate today, but is going to increase by the end of the week. Elon University Medical Center Dr. Jeanette Archinal says North Carolina is particularly bad compared to other states.
I used to think Georgia was bad till I moved to North Carolina. But again, depends what you're allergic to.
When it comes to prevention, Archinal says the best way to get rid of pollen is to finally do that college laundry.
Wash your sheets in hot water and make sure you do your laundry once a week. Don't leave it a couple of weeks or a month because those are all areas where pollen's going to accumulate.
Christian Galvano, Elon Local News.
If you're experiencing a bad case of allergies, you can make an appointment at Student Health Services. Visit www.elon.edu/health-wellness.
Today marks the beginning of Pride Week, a week to celebrate the LGBTQIA community. Elon's Queer Street Alliance, known as Spectrum, is hosting the week with a variety of events planned. Tonight there'll be s'mores from 7 to 9 at the Elon Ropes course, and they'll be ending the week with a drag show at Tap House from 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. with both student and professional drag queens. Spectrum Treasurer Antonia Serino says it's important to have events that bring the community together and make them known on campus.
The LGBTQ community as a whole has really struggled to create an identity for themselves and have dealt with a lot of persecution throughout the years. So Pride Week is a way of saying, hey, we're here and that we just want to celebrate ourselves and who we are.
For more information on the events going on this week, you can head to the Gender and LGBTQIA Center in upstairs Mosley.
Just down the hall from our studio is Turner Theater, a theater that is free for Elon students. But how much does it cost to run? Our Grace Morris took a look at the numbers behind the screen.
On Friday and Saturday nights, students from all over campus gather in the Snow Family Atrium for one thing, a free movie. With just the tap of a Phoenix card, students get access to blockbuster movies like The Shape of Water or can see a student-made film. This year is the first full year that Turner Theater has been operational, as it was one of the additions to the School of Communications after its recent renovations. But what does it cost to run a theater like this?
The technology that's in that space is somewhere around the neighborhood of $100,000 for the technology. Then you got to think of the building, the acoustics, the seats, the really nice theater seating that we have in there too.
This $100,000 went into paying for the projector and the sound system in Turner Theater. Turner Theater now has a budget of $24,000 that pays for the rights to the movies that they screen. All the money that is given to Turner Theater comes from the School of Communications. But organizations that partner with Turner Theater to have events do not get the benefit of this budget.
Whenever we do a sub cinema night, which is Friday or Saturday, then they'll provide candy. They've got a popcorn machine. They'll go outside and pop popcorn and then bring that back in. So sub's handling that.
And while Turner Theater has seen all its seats filled, Baker says he doesn't feel like it is taking business away from local theaters.
By the time that the movies get to Turner Theater, they've already left the big cinemas. We can't get a hold of those movies until they're gone.
Despite the cost, Baker says it's worth it for the culture he's trying to create in the Elon community.
We're really trying to establish a cinema going culture here in the School of Communications too. And I think we're really trying to establish a culture where people go to the movies and enjoy it together.
Grace Morris, Elon Local News.
If you want to find out what movie Turner Theater is playing this weekend, go to www.turnertheater.com.
The Elon community is looking to improve mental health on campus. This comes after Elon announced a plan to focus on counseling services and increasing that staff. This weekend, local professionals and community members gathered for Student Mental Health Conference to discuss the school's role in mental health advancement. President of the local chapter of the National Alliance on Mental Illness, Art Springer, has had multiple family members affected by mental illness, and he says he didn't even know what resources were available to him.
Can you get discussion of mental illness in the general population? It's not talked about. And I know when it happened with my wife and I 30-some years ago, we were floored. We didn't know what to do.
Even after a mental illness is detected, adult psychiatrist in private practice, Dr. Artie Kapoor, says Alamance County is severely lacking in the amount of psychiatric practices, which makes appointment availability difficult for those in an emergency situation.
Even though we're looking at wait lists 2 to 3 months to get in for an appointment, however, every day it changes. So there can be a cancellation and a new patient appointment the next day. But this is not acceptable when somebody's needing to start a medication soon.
If you or someone you know needs mental health assistance, you can call counseling services at 336-278-7280.
The town of Elon will celebrate its Founders Day on Tuesday in the Town of Elon Municipal Building. That celebration was supposed to take place on Saturday, but it had to be canceled due to the rain. 40 vendors, 5 sponsors, and 4 bands were expected to come out for that event.
The Dean of the School of Communications, Paul Parsons, signed a letter outlining concerns over editorial content that Sinclair Broadcast Group requires their local TV stations across the country to run. The letter, it's been signed by 18 journalism school administrators across the country, says Sinclair crossed the line last week by forcing local anchors to read a must-run script sent from corporate. The deans and chairs argue that using news personalities to read commentary that's not clearly marked as such destroys the trust that viewers put in our local TV stations. Parsons said in an email to ENN that he signed the letter because, quote, I consider Sinclair's corporate must-read policy to be antithetical to everything we teach about a free and independent media, whether it emanates from government or some corporate boss. Tomorrow, Sinclair's news recruiter will be FaceTiming with Elon seniors interested in journalism careers.
And coming up after the break, I have all the tips that you need to know for class registration, which starts tomorrow.
It still feels like winter in North Carolina, but I'll let you know when it's going to warm up.
You're watching Elon Local News.
Class registration starts tomorrow, and our Selena Guevara has all the tips and tricks you need to get the help and get the classes that you want.
Thank you so much, Perry. So if you're registering for classes tomorrow, you want to make sure that you've talked to your advisor. You want to make sure that your 4-year plan is all planned out and that you're going to get all the requirements that you need in order to graduate on time. So your advisor can really help you plan out and make sure that you'll get the general ed requirements as well as the stuff that you're going to need for your specific major. Before you log on tomorrow morning or whenever your advising time is, you want to put classes in your cart. You can almost pre-register those classes so that you can just click one button and see all of the classes classes that you already have signed up. You want to have a plan, but you want to have backups in case those classes end up filling up so that you're not left with no classes to take at all. When registration time rolls around, you're going to want to make sure that you have a strong Wi-Fi connection, whether it's in your apartment or somewhere on campus like the library or Mosley Center, that's going to really have a fast internet. You want to log on 5 minutes before your registration, not too early, otherwise it might automatically log you out, and not too late so that you won't be stressing out and trying to get everything done at the last minute. Finally, you don't want to panic. If you don't get the classes that you want, it's not the end of the world. There's lots of alternatives, and you can still register not right at the time that you go on, but you can register for the rest of the day. So there's lots of time to add and drop classes. That's all the registration tips I have for you now. Back to you guys, Perry and Jackie.
Thanks, Selena. Thank goodness we don't have to do that anymore because we're both
so
seniors. We're graduating. Yeah.
Woo, feels good.
But I did recognize all those tips, and those are definitely going to be helpful for some students.
Absolutely.
So obviously
Thanks,
we have
Selena.
registration going on this week, but there's some more things coming up this week at Elon. Tomorrow, University President Connie Book will be visiting the Gender and LGBTQIA Center to talk to students as part of her effort to reach out to various student groups. The event will start at 7 p.m. And if you aren't on the bone marrow donation registry, the Elon football team is hosting a bone marrow drive called Be the March. This will take place on Wednesday in McKinnon Hall from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And a panel for students interested in careers in social justice will be hosted on Wednesday. The panel will be held from 5 to 6 p.m. in Mosley 105A.
And the weather this week has been cold still. It's April.
It snowed over the weekend once.
What's up with that?
I don't know, but I'm sure Megan Gittleman has something to tell us about that. Megan, why has it been so cold? Is it going to get warm?
Thanks, Jackie and Perry. It's been beautiful outside today, but don't let the sunshine fool you because it feels like winter's still hanging on here in North Carolina. Today, walking downtown this morning, I saw a lot of people still bundled up in jackets and coats, and definitely for good reason. There was a high of 54 today, and it was slightly windy, but tonight it's dropping down to 40, so you're going to want to make sure you hold on to that coat. So what's with this cold weather anyway, and when is it going to warm up? Meteorologist John Boyer chalks it up to the nature of spring itself. It's a transition season between winter and summer, so you're going to have days that fall closer to one or the other on any given day. Right now, cold air in the northern hemisphere isn't concentrated over the North Pole. It's actually been centered further south around the Hudson Bay area, since March, which is why we've been hit with some colder temperatures and winter weather patterns down the East Coast. This year, the average temperature for February in North Carolina was actually 6 degrees warmer than the average temperature in March at 46 degrees. But luckily for us, some spring temperatures are going to warm on up later in the week. I'll let you know what the rest of the week is going to look like later in the show, but for now, back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Megan. A taste of the 90s, though, is coming to Alumni Gym this Wednesday. David Coulier, famous for playing Uncle Joey on ABC's hit show Full House, is this year's spring comedian. The Student Union Board is expecting around 1,500 people to attend that event. Sub-concert director Colton Catterett says the security for the event won't be as strict as the John Bellion concert that happened earlier this fall.
This event will be a little different. Comedy's inside, so it's a lot easier to control sort of what's coming in, what's not coming in. It'll be looser than that. We won't be doing metal detectors. It'll be just bag checks if you're bringing a backpack, no pat downs, anything like that.
Catterett says that finding a comedian for the spring event can be challenging.
We try to get someone who's relevant, because comedy's a little tough. I think there's a lot fewer comedians out there, but we work really hard with our agent and also students here to try to get people that would resonate the best with students.
Now, he says he can't share the official cost of the event, but he says it's around $20,000. Tickets for that event are still available in the sub-office, will also be available at will call on the day of the event. Tickets for that are $15 or free with a student ID.
Coming up, one Elon student hopes to throw her way all the way to the NCAA Outdoor Track and Field Championship.
And where the Phoenix at? Campus was barren of sports this past week. I'll let you know what you missed coming up.
Local news.
Thanks for joining us. So now we're going to go right back outside to Megan for the Phoenix 5-day forecast. Megan?
Thanks, Jackie and Perry. I do have some good news for you. You might be able to hang up your coats this week because this weekend it's supposed to climb up to the 80s. Let's take a look at your Phoenix 5-day forecast. Tomorrow we're looking at mostly sunny skies with a high of 63 and a low of 42. And that sunshine is going to continue into Wednesday with again a high of 63 and a low of 44. On Thursday we're going to jump up to the 70s with a high of 74 and a low of 51. More of those warmer spring temperatures we're used to here in North Carolina. And on Friday we're kicking off the weekend with a high of 80 and a low of 56 and sunny, clear skies. Finally, on Saturday, wrapping up your forecast with a high of 78 and a low of 60. It'll be mostly sunny, but there's about a 40% chance of rain at night. That's your Phoenix 5-day forecast, and hopefully these warmer temperatures will bring some good luck to our Phoenix. Our Miles Garrett is live in the studio to give us a recap of sports and the games we can expect ahead. Miles.
Thanks, Megan. Well, the weather being cold and rainy didn't affect sports this weekend. Actually, the Phoenix didn't get to show it at all on its home turf for the entire week. Besides the women's tennis team taking down Charleston Southern yesterday, there were count it, zero home games for any Elon team all week. So if you didn't travel with any of them, here's the rundown. We'll start with the bad news. Baseball got swept by Northeastern and dropped a few spots in the CAA standings, but not to worry. Since March 9th, the Phoenix is 8-2 at Latham Park, and you guessed it, they'll be home on Wednesday for a matchup with East Carolina. Now on to the good news. The softball team was close to bringing out the brooms and sweeping UNC Wilmington back to the coast, but they still got the series win this weekend. As for this week, men's tennis will be home on Wednesday with the CAA tournament quickly approaching, but I'd say we'll have an advantage. It's on our home turf at the Jimmy Powell Tennis Center. So like Megan said, the weather will be nice, so why not go check out some Elon sports? They're all finally back at home this week. Jackie Perry, back to you.
As Miles mentioned, the spring sports season well underway, including track and field. Elon's team has been holding steady the past few meets, placing in events, some people getting some personal records. I took a look at one accomplished senior who's leading the group to have some high hopes, and she has some of her own personal goals for the season as well.
It's not just the warm-up or the stretch that makes an athlete. It's a mentality.
All right, let's go. I threw it down.
Brianna Hames is a senior thrower on Elon's track and field team with high expectations for her final spring season.
Taking gold at NCAAs, that is it.
Hames says she's making it back to the NCAA Outdoor Championship this year, a feat she was first from Elon's 16-year-old program to conquer.
It was almost like, do I deserve this? Am I the person that's supposed to be here? I'm the first female to ever make it in to the NCAAs. I'm first female that is of a minority race. That's also huge.
But it took a lot for Hames to get to this point.
I struggled a lot with my own mental and just trying to regain confidence in myself. I went through a period of just being really depressed after a really rough period of my life.
One of her coaches, Mark Elliston, says these times of difficulty are common among the team.
And I guarantee you that all of them go through that. So, individually they have to find a way to work through that. But as coaches, we just try to continue to be encouraging and, bringing her back into, getting herself ready, getting the focus back to where it is.
I really just put a lot of focus into track and into faith and into school, and it was probably the biggest life-changing moment.
So now, Hames is on to trying new events.
Just trying to be a little bit more patient and letting the ball pull you instead of trying to pull the ball.
And mastering her skills.
So is that the same as the sliding? Okay.
On Hames and the rest of the track and field team at the Home Invitational. That's this Saturday, April 14th.
After the break, we take a look at what inspires the only female on Elon's Board of Aldermen.
You're watching Elon Local News.
The Board of Aldermen consists of an elected mayor and 5 elected board members who support the town of Elon. Our Caroline Hartshorn got to know the one member of the board, and her many jobs.
Emily Sharp logs onto her computer from her home office, where she works most days. Her day job helps employees stay healthy. Her second job as Board of Aldermen member helps the community stay whole.
Town has been very focused around the university for so long, and now, as residents, as people are looking to move here, You know, it's kind of more focused on what can we do for our residents while still also having this great partnership with the university.
Sharp, along with the board, is working to develop and improve the parks in the town of Elon, as well as help the downtown area thrive.
There's so much business opportunity in downtown Elon, and I think that's our main focus over the next 5 to 10 years.
While Sharp works with the board to achieve these goals, she has the opportunity to provide a voice that represents a different side of the community. She's the only woman on the board.
I'm only the 7th, so in 125 years, there's only been 7 women elected to the Board of Aldermen. It just became very evident to me that there wasn't a voice of young professionals, nothing against the great men that I serve with, but their priorities are just a little bit different than mine.
And those priorities include her daughter, 2-year-old Lila Kate.
Motherhood is difficult. It's the greatest thing in the world to be a spouse, a partner, you know, to be a parent, to be an employee, and then to be someone who serves in their community. It certainly can pull you, you know, in different directions.
But of all the jobs Sharp has on a daily basis, her main mission is to inspire her daughter.
Her to grow up and realize that there's so much more to life than, you know, just, you know, raising a family and earning a paycheck, but to give back to your community is so important.
Caroline Hartsworth, Elon Local News.
Although the celebration we discussed earlier this weekend was canceled, Sharp hopes to continue creating events that can help connect Elon students with the surrounding Elon community. And boy, wasn't that little girl so cute.
That last shot was just absolutely adorable.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can tell that is one of her favorite jobs of being with her daughter and everything. But I mean, man,
Keeps
she
busy.
Yeah, she does keep herself busy.
And I'm sitting here thinking, I got 3 classes, but this is 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, she's really inspirational. But I mean, she obviously had a big hand in running that event over the weekend. They were very unfortunate. That was very unfortunately
It's
canceled.
decided to snow this weekend. And thankfully,
finally, it's going to warm up to the 80s. Thank goodness,
Yeah.
no more sports games canceled. Hopefully.
Fingers crossed that we're going to have something this week. You know, baseball season's finally here, so maybe we'll have this game on Wednesday against East Carolina. So.
What's your prediction for that game if it does happen?
The Phoenix, we've been doing pretty well lately. I mean, we were right in the thick of things with the CAA standings. We dropped a few spots, but things are looking up. I think Mike Kennedy will get them going.
Awesome.
All right, nice prediction.
I'm really looking forward to it, and the weather will be nice for that upcoming week. So things are looking up, I think, at least.
I'd say so.
Yeah,
I'd say
things
so.
are picking up, and well, that'll be all for us today. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, for all the news you need to know more off the air, you can check out our website, elonnewsnetwork.com.
And be sure to pick up a copy of The Pendulum. That's on the stands Wednesday.
You can be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on all of our social media at Elon News Network.
And have a great night, Elon.